Spread from the southwest, reaching most areas by morning. Tomorrow, Wednesday, will be mostly cloudy with occasional outbreaks of rain and drizzle. Good dry spells will develop in inland parts of Munster and across the southern half of Leinster. Maximum temperatures of 19 degrees, warmest in the south. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Now then, you're very welcome along. Tuesday's Off the Ball. We're busy today. So Katie Taylor interview coming your way around 7:30. Big fight for her coming up this weekend. We'll bring you more on that in a moment. Luke Edwards of The Telegraph has made the trek over to Baku for Arsenal-Chelsea on tomorrow evening. We'll check in with Luke and see how things are shaping up. James O'Connor will talk to us about Galway-Wexford at the weekend. Wouldn't say either team thrilled with a draw on Sunday, and suddenly Leinster is wide open. We'll get James's thoughts. And then John Gonzalez of The Ringer will talk to us about the NBA Finals starting this Friday. This weekend, certainly, Toronto Raptors, Golden State Warriors on the way. 53106, the text number. We're at Off the Ball on Twitter. Richie McCormack is here. Hello, Richie.
How are you, Joe?
Richie, everyone, the McCormack family got a dog today. More of that and on. Exciting times for the McCormack clan. And Ronan Mullen here as well. Hello.
Joe, how are things?
The interview with Katie Taylor is courtesy of your good self. You're heading to New York tomorrow?
New York tomorrow, yeah.
What is this Katie Taylor fight for people who've had their head in the sands? This is the one, isn't it? This is the biggie.
All of the marbles, Joe.
Is this all of them?
It feels like every time we've discussed her in the past, Delphine Pursoon's name has been mentioned as, oh well, that's on the horizon. That's going to be the big one at the end of the journey, and we're here now. And she's like, 2019 has sort of turned into a bit of a breakout year for her, which seems a bit remarkable to say given how popular she was before that, but in terms of from a global perspective, she's really captured the imagination in America, specifically that fight in Philadelphia where she really lit the place up on St. Patrick's weekend and just kept the ball rolling off the back of that, secured this fight with Pursoon. And there's an element of intrigue in this fight that probably has been absent in some of her other fights. Like I would have said the Volante fight, given that was a unification as well, you have to say there was a little bit of jeopardy there, but Pursoon, given how awkward she is, fans of boxing who are familiar with Carl Froch, she's kind of similar. So an awkward style to navigate, and for someone like Katie who relies on timing and like pinpoint accuracy, to have someone who's they're not even sure what they're going to do next. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to navigate that. But once she gets that down, once she gets Pursoon's rhythm down, she should be able to take over in the second half of the fight. But
So you're expecting a tough start potentially? Yeah,
because even Volante, even from a physical standpoint, it took Katie a little while. She kind of boxed her initially, and then once she broke her will, she started to march her down. And I'd expect a similar pattern in this one. And it's an unbelievable platform for Katie as well. Madison Square Garden, Anthony Joshua's American debut. So it's just a brilliant night for her, and hopefully she can deliver, because it would put her in seriously rarefied air and the company of undisputed boxing champions. You know, you count them on one hand. So it's just a huge night for her.
So this is her owning the weight division, everything around her belt.
Yeah, Ring Magazine, which they don't always put their belt on the line. That's like, we always yearn for a de facto #1 champion, and the Ring Magazine's the closest arbiter we have in terms of they will look at all the champions and say that's the best champion. So the Ring Magazine belt is on the line in this one as well, and they're basically saying no one can touch this girl, she's unbelievable. So that's basically what's at stake here, you know.
What kind of character is Delphine Pursoon?
A little bit quirky, like even going to the Carl Froch thing.
She's a guard, isn't she?
Yeah, she's just a little bit irreverent in her approach, and like obviously she's doing more interviews now than she probably ever has done. So maybe there's a hint of nervousness there, but just the way she comes across, it's as if the occasion hasn't quite dawned on her, or maybe she's actively trying to play it down a little bit. But her and Katie are quite well suited in that regard, I think.
Okay, where's Pursoon from again?
Belgium.
Belgium. Okay, which is one of the hotbeds, isn't it?
Yeah, well, she specifically hasn't. She's only fought once outside of Belgium. So she wouldn't be drawing Katie Taylor style numbers, but a big star in her own right. And you have to imagine, I alluded to it there, but going from fighting in Belgium to relative small halls to, you know, the mecca of boxing in a fell swoop is going to be a shock to the system, you have to imagine. I was looking at the public workouts are on today in New York. They're being streamed now, and Katie's doing her thing in the ring, and Pursoon's just sitting there ringside staring her out. And it's something Klitschko did with Joshua.
Okay.
Just a little bit of mind games, which is good to see.
Okay, well, we'll bring you thoughts from Katie Taylor. That's on the way around 7:30 or so. Go on then, McCormack. What dog did you get?
It is a cross between, I'm told, a Bichon and a Cotton. The latter part of that half.
I don't even know what that looks like.
It's a small little white fluffy thing, Joe.
Right, okay. That's more like
and
it.
And it's fierce cute.
Right.
And it's only 7 weeks old and came from a litter of 4.
As yet unnamed.
As yet unnamed. So if the Off the Ball listeners want to suggest names.
Male, female, sorry?
Female.
Female? Okay.
Female.
And any early contenders name-wise? Do the kids get to choose? Surely they do.
Oh God, no. No, they're terrible. Like the middle lad literally just wants to name everything J for some reason, or what the actual thing is with an E on the end of it. Doggy, puppy, that kind of thing. Yeah. So keen to avoid children naming anything.
That's practical.
It is, but also a little bit odd.
Great excitement.
Doggy,
in
come here.
McCormack House. Yeah, it's good.
It is scratching the table legs and couches and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be great crack.
Is there something like that there? I mean, the radio listeners can't see that. But
not as afroed. It doesn't look as much like an albino Maroon Flyney, but...
And is this, what kind of personality does this dog have?
It seems quiet. It was the quietest of the 4, which I'm going for, because either side of us, we've got 2 yappy dogs. We've got Norman to the left of us, who literally barks so much he gave himself a seizure a couple of weeks ago. Okay. I'm not making that up.
Shout out
and
to
then there's Bella on the other side as well, who's only about 3-4 months old. She just never shuts up either once she gets out in the garden.
Norman is a strong dog.
Norman is a good name.
It's a strong name.
If I got a boy dog before, I just wanted to call him Keith.
Does anyone call a dog Rover anymore? No?
That's no.
For the crack?
Not really.
No.
We've got like a Lilo on our road as well, a Rubbles.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of pets, a lot of dogs.
Yeah, Rubbles hasn't been spayed, so keep shagging the balls in our garden.
Say that again?
Rubbles hasn't been spayed.
Right.
So he keeps robbing the balls in our garden, taking them over to his and mounting them.
Right, okay. Well, that's a lovely thought, Richie. Thank you for
You asked.
that.
I don't think you did, but
I definitely
it's
didn't.
detail I was happy to furnish.
It's a word picture.
So,
Theatre of the mind, Ronan. Theatre of the mind.
Newsround then, away from the world of your new dog. Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Kids very excited.
Big moment.
Big moment. Yeah. It is a big moment.
It is.
It's a new member.
It's a new family member, yeah.
Will this dog be inside pretty much all the time, yeah?
Oh, I don't know. I'll hope not. Because then you end up with a Norman situation where he just keeps barking at everything.
You don't want that.
I don't want another Norman.
Okay.
Yeah.
So away from all that, you are starting with this
The dog bows?
extended Ireland training camp for the World Cup. What are we, 44 men?
44 men, but among those that aren't in the 44, Quinn Rue, Will Addison, Stuart McCloskey and Darren Sweetenham, not named in that Ireland training squad for the World Cup. Rue, we should note, was involved in all of Ireland's Six Nations games, starting 2 of them, while McCloskey, as recently as last week, was named in the Pro 14 team of the season. Munster's South African-born lock Jean Klein does make that 44-man panel, despite not being eligible until August. Uncapped Munster fullback Mike Haley also gets the nod, with Sean O'Brien and Dan Levy the confirmed absentees through injury. Schmidt will trim the squad to 31 players before flying out to Japan in September, and the head coach insists the door isn't closed yet on players who haven't made the cut. Well, Rob Kearney says there are goals he still wants to achieve following the confirmation of his 9-month contract extension with Leinster, which I heard about first here on Off the Ball last night. The fullback will remain with the province until the end of next season. He's 10 caps shy of the century with Ireland. And as we mentioned, Sean O'Brien won't be on that plane to Japan. The London Irish-bound flanker requires similar hip surgery to that Andy Murray received recently. He'll be out for up to 6 months, but tells Off the Ball he needed to go under the knife now rather than later.
I knew that I was having good days and bad days. So likes of, as you say, Scotland, even England coming off the bench, felt great, and then felt good against Scotland. And
so that week, for instance, in the build of that game, are you pretty much okay? You're not in too much pain?
No, yeah. I trained well that week. And when I train well during the week, it usually, obviously leads to a decent enough performance at the weekend. So I was happy with where I was. And I was only kind of coming back into the scene. So it was always going to be a bit different. But then, you know what I mean, had a very poor game then the following week. I played and knew I was in a bit of bother then for the following week when they played France. And you know, it was just frustrating me, and I couldn't get a run of good weeks together.
Yeah,
I was having a good week, then I was having a bad week.
Right.
I might have 2 good weeks of training, and then I'd have a bad week, and this was the way it'd go for me. And you know, I wasn't saying much about it either. I'm not going you can't be going around kind of saying that stuff in the environment either. You know what I mean? You want to keep everyone as pumped as possible. You don't want to be going in with bad news to them all the time. But I suppose a few lads probably knew that I was struggling, from day to day. And
we had Rob Kearney in yesterday, and he was saying he knew you were struggling, and he said he was kind of broken up for you, was the phrase he used, watching you trying, and probably, like you said, having the good weeks, and maybe everybody thinking,
here he comes now.
It's cracked.
Yeah.
But actually, it was almost just, the next kind of fallback was waiting to happen. The wear and tear was going to kick in. Yeah. Was there any pattern to it? Was there any way you could say, well, that was a good week because, or was it just almost random and you wake up one day?
Yeah, that's the thing, you see. So I was looking after myself really well, doing all my rehab, doing all my hip stuff that I had to do, and you could literally, it was like that. You'd wake up in the morning sometimes. I was struggling to find my socks, and I'd be heading into training and going, right, I need a big day's training here to be ready for the weekend. So,
right. How are you getting through training on a day like that?
I struggled at the start, and then I'd
warm up a bit almost.
Yeah, I'd kind of, the more it gets moving, and then you'd be fighting it the whole time. But the following day, I could be great. That was the way that it used to be. Right. I could be angry one day, and it could be grand the next day.
Right.
And you train pretty well. But I couldn't keep it going.
Yeah. Well, if you've given it a few months to see does that pattern sort itself out and it hasn't, then I can see why you made the decision. Did I read it's hip resurfacing?
Yeah, it's hip resurfacing, yeah. So it's Andy Murray's had it done actually. So it's a pretty big operation. It's probably bigger than a hip replacement. And it's been very successful though. It's a good thing. There's a lot of decathlon athletes that have had it done, and hammer thrower who's going to the Olympics this year, UFC fighter as well, who's fighting at European level at the minute, and all seem to be going pretty well. So it's a relatively new kind of thing.
Yeah. I was reading, there's a Professor Max Feely over in Manchester, the Manchester Hip Clinic, and he was saying 90 to 95% of patients who have this surgery are delighted. They live a pain-free life. They can ski, swim, cycle and play golf at the weekend. And he was talking about Andy Murray here, and he said, but none of them tried to play professional tennis. So that is, pain-free will be great. I guess you're looking for pain-free and professional career in sport, and not just any old sport. In rugby. He said as well, the vast majority of people who have the surgery in the UK at least are over the age of 55. Just a sign of what you're doing to your body, I suppose. So how hopeful are you? Pain-free one, that's got to be the minimum. How hopeful are you that you can get back into rugby? Is anyone willing to give you a percentage chance?
I think, I'm pretty confident with speaking to the surgeon and everything. And
where will you have it done?
I'll have it done in Coventry. Where I had my last hip up done. So I'm pretty confident with what he's saying to me. Obviously there's no guarantee, but if you look at the UFC fighter, for instance, he's getting kicked. He's down in grappling moves like we would be on the ground. He is, getting his legs twisted in all sorts of positions, and there's not a bother on him. Hammer thrower, a lot of force going through his hips, and not a bother on him either. So I'm kind of thinking, no rugby player's probably done this before, but I'm going to give it my best shot of getting back anyway. So I think I'll be confident in my own ability to push it to where it needs to go to.
Yeah.
Whether it'll stand up to it or not is the question.
Yes. Where are London Irish with all this? Did they know this was on the horizon? I presume they didn't.
They didn't probably know that this was going to be the case, but they do now, obviously. I rang them before I made the decision. They knew, obviously, my medical history anyway of the hip, but they didn't know it was going to be this bad. But I'm not meant to be really there till the 3rd of December anyway, and that'd lead me into a little bit of a pre-season first and then play. So really, I'll only be missing probably 2 months, hopefully. 2, maybe 2.5 months for them anyway, which isn't all that bad. And at least I'll be over there doing those 3 months of rehab, and I'll be in the environment, and I can, get the process going of getting involved with another group of lads.
Yeah, Sean O'Brien there speaking to us about his decision to go for surgery as opposed to go to the World Cup. He was here in conjunction with SuperValue, who reckon Ireland is a country of boring barbecuers. 50% of people cook the same meat every time. They barbecue, so if you want to change things up, visit supervalue.ie for more adventurous barbecue ideas. Now, team news ahead of Champions League final.
Yeah, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp confirming that Naby Keita won't be fit for Saturday's Champions League final with Tottenham. The Guinea midfielder is still recovering from a thigh injury he picked up against Barcelona at the beginning of this month. While looking ahead to tomorrow, Chelsea boss Maurizio Sarri says N'Golo Kante is 50-50 to play in tomorrow night's Europa League final with Arsenal due to a knee injury. The French World Cup winner has been training with the squad in Baku. David Ornstein has actually tweeted in the past 10 minutes to say that injury is now more than a 50-50 chance, or sorry, less, depending on what you're looking at it. He says he went halfway through this evening's session, but limped out of that. But Sarri isn't overly hopeful anyway of Kante starting against their fellow Londoners.
Oh, I think it's 50-50 at the moment. 50-50. Yesterday, 60-40 for the no. Today, 50-50. He was a little bit better this morning. But we are in trouble with the midfielder. At the moment, we have only 3 midfielders for 3 positions. So we are in trouble. For us, Golo, as you know, is really very important.
So, sorry, we'll talk to Luke Edwards later on, just after 8 o'clock. He's gone over to Baku. We'll also get his take on what's happening at Newcastle, or, as seems to be the case, not happening at Newcastle regarding the takeover. As for Sarri's position, 3rd in the league, maybe they win the Europa League as well. They'd certainly be favourites going in. That would have to go down as a very acceptable season. And yeah, there's still this question mark over his future, and a lot of Chelsea fans just don't much like the cut of his jib.
But there's now, 3 massive jobs in Serie A that are going to beg, and we'll get to one of them a little bit later on. AC Milan's now the biggest vacancy. Juventus still don't have a head coach for next season, nor do Roma. So, if he wants to head back to Italy, he probably has his pick of jobs.
Yeah.
It's whether or not Chelsea want to keep him. And the thought is, or the word is, that they want to go with Frank Lampard if they do get rid of Sarri. And I can see the whole club legend coming back thing, the wonderful story and the fairy tale it would be. But based on the year that he's had with Derby, there's no evidence to suggest that he could work with that group of players at Chelsea and make them successful into a Champions League winning or a league winning side.
You could well be looking at a case of sacking a Europa League winning manager who finished 3rd in the Premier League for a guy who lost the Championship playoff final.
Yeah.
But we have to remind ourselves how Derby fell into that playoff spot as well. They were supposed to be a top 2-3 side throughout the course of the Championship season and fell away pretty badly.
And West Brom were in a similar position, sacked their manager for that reason, that he wasn't getting the best out of them, even though they were in the playoffs. Derby just snuck in, as Richie said.
You might have seen as well, Antonio Conte won his legal battle against Chelsea over compensation. So he's just pocketed £9 million as of today. Very nice. Which brings...
And he's going to Inter Milan.
Is he going to Inter Milan?
It would seem so, yeah. Spalletti's pretty much on his way out.
It brings the total of payoffs to managers under Roman Abramovich to a very tidy £90.2 million sterling flushed down the toilet. Conte, 9 million. Jose Mourinho, 2 separate payments to him and his staff. December 2015, 8.3 million for him and his staff. And then the doozy was September 07, 23 million. 23 million just flushed down the toilet straight to Jose and his staff. Roberto Di Matteo, November 2012, 10 million.
He's having a laugh there.
He is having a laugh. Andre Villas-Boas, 12 million.
He's now popped up in Marseille today as well, as AVB.
Luis Felipe Scolari, 12.6 million, sweet ones.
It's just a list of... do you remember when they were in charge of Chelsea?
Carlo Ancelotti, May 2011, 6 million.
How much did Avram Grant squeeze out?
5.2 million.
Wow.
Claudio Ranieri, back in 2004, 6 million. Back when 6 million was 6 million. I mean, honestly, you get sacked from Chelsea, it's the best day of your life. Your reputation is not damaged at all. No. You go home and it's like, we've just made 3 years worth of money in a day.
Imagine how many fags Sarri could buy with that.
A lot.
And he could smoke them.
It is the most important thing to negotiate with Chelsea, your severance package.
How much am I getting if I get the sack out of here?
When I get sacked, when this happens.
This isn't an if, Roman. I know this is happening at some point.
I want my full shebang.
Yeah.
For all the talk of Abramovich tightening the purse strings, and yet he's still happy to throw away
9 million
tens of millions, or 9 million now.
I think that might play a part in his thinking, given the fact that his involvement is, whether he says it or not outwardly, is less and less in the club. Yeah. I don't think he can afford to chuck 9 million down the small.
No, they're not the big spenders anymore.
No.
So,
like when you're bringing in Mateo Kovacic as a loan signing in the summer, I mean, that shows you the level of transfer activity you're probably looking at again this term. Granted, they bought Pulisic, but they're probably having a ban hovering over them.
Abramovich still hasn't been back really in London all season. He hasn't been at the stadium anyway, that's for sure. I wonder, is he in Baku?
Russian-English relations, not the May West at the minute.
No, and they seem to have targeted him especially as well, so we'll see if he's in Baku. Where are we going next?
We'll head to the qualifiers. GA confirming today the details of the upcoming Championship first round qualifiers. 4 of the ties will take place on Saturday, June 8th. Offaly hosting London in Tullamore at 1:30. Leitrim welcoming Wicklow to Carrick-on-Shannon with a 3 p.m. throw-in. There's a 4:45 start for Wexford against Derry at Wexford Park, while Drogheda plays host to the 7 p.m. start between Louth and Antrim. Down and Tip will meet in Newry at 2 p.m. on the following day, with Monaghan and Fermanagh renewing acquaintances at Clones at the same time. There's a 3 p.m. start for Westmeath against Waterford at Cusack Park, while Carlow will play the losers of this week's replay between Kildare and Longford, reset for Sunday, of course, at 3 p.m. Spanish police have made several arrests following a complaint from La Liga about a game that was possibly fixed. Current and former players, as well as club officials from the country's top 2 divisions, have reportedly been detained. It's understood an organised criminal group, they're saying, were involved in influencing what's believed to be a La Liga 2 match in last May. SSE Airtricity Premier Division leaders Dundalk Ronan have been drawn home to Bohemians in the semi-finals of the EA Sports Cup. Holders Derry City will be at home to Waterford in the semis. Both of those games set for the August Bank Holiday Monday.
Now we must get Steven Reid on the phone.
Yeah, he's got an interesting job today. Former Republic of Ireland midfielder confirmed as part of the new Scotland backroom team. He'll be working under his former West Brom manager Steve Clarke, starting with next month's Euro 2020 qualifiers with Cyprus and Belgium. And Clarke feels that Reid is the ideal appointment.
He's a player that I know, he's a coach that I know, and I think it's important for me that I go into the first camp comfortable with the staff that are with me, staff that understand how I work. Stephen's a little bit younger, so he'll have a better handle on the mentality of the younger players in the dressing room, and he's also an experienced international player who's been involved in World Cup campaigns and actually played in a World Cup for the Republic.
I quite like Steve Clarke, I have to say.
Head and his shoulders.
Yeah, head and his shoulders. Even a certain humility there that he understands there's a generation gap. Stephen will have a better feel for the younger players. So
it's a good appointment. Like Reid, we almost forget because it seems like a million years ago that he left Crystal Palace. He built up a brilliant reputation there. Yeah. He built up a reputation at the clubs he worked with previously. I mean, he cut his coaching teeth initially, not officially, under Clarke at West Brom, then was working with him directly at Reading. Yeah. And Palace, he really made a name for himself before having to step away. Yeah. It's great to see him get such a high-profile gig in his return.
Call the dog taxi, says Darren in Mayo. It will cause hilarious confusion when you're out walking. Go for a classic, Deirdre.
Does anybody actually say taxi though when hailing a taxi?
No, everyone has an app now.
Everyone has
Or else they just put out their hand. No one's ever gone taxi.
They go, put out their hand, looking really bored and hoping to look sober.
Deirdre and Glenageary saying, go for a classic, Lady. Would you consider Lady?
No. And there was a little fat chihuahua that lived 2 doors down from us back in my old road called Lady.
How many dogs on this?
No, this is the road where I grew up. Right. There was like a morbidly obese chihuahua called Lady. Had little spindly legs. They couldn't carry her weight, so they couldn't walk her.
Right. Okay. That rules that out then.
Does. Do you know the way when you're trying to, like, if you're like, the thing they say is if you're ever trying to name a baby, you find out who you actually hate more than most.
No, I can see that. Yeah. Like, because, yes, people from your childhood, you're like, oh no.
Oh, I knew Gareth when I was in school. He was,
Yeah.
It's not good. Leeds boss Marcelo Bielsa is going to remain at the Championship club for another season. To the delight of Leeds fans, the Argentine guided the side to the playoffs in his first campaign in charge and has agreed to stay at Ellen Road for a further 12 months. We almost had a massive shock in the French Open today. Top seed and world number 1 Naomi Osaka was taken to love 6 and 5-4 down. World number 90 Anna Karolina Schmiedova twice served for the match, but Osaka won the second set in a tiebreak before wrapping up the third 6-1. She'll play Victoria Azarenka in round 2 after the 2-time Australian Open champion beat the 2017 French Open winner Jelena Ostapenko in straight sets. Defending champion Simona Halep needed 3 to beat the Aussie Ayla Tomljanovic, and next up for Halep is Poland's Magdalena Net. No such worries for Madison Keys, with the 14th seed dispatching Evgenia Rodina in 56 minutes today. Men's 5th seed Alexander Zverev through to round 2, but he needed 4 hours to beat John Millman in 5. 8th seed Juan Martín del Potro is also through to the second round after a 4-set victory over Chile's Nicola Iari. And men's 9th seed Fabio Fognini was a 4-set victor over his fellow Italian Andrea Seppi. As we mentioned, AC Milan undergoing massive changes this summer. Head coach Gennaro Gattuso and Director of Sport Leonardo have both resigned from their positions today. The former Rossoneri midfielder Gattuso took over from the sacked Vincenzo Montella in November of 2017 and was given a contract extension until 2021, just in April of last year. Gattuso leaves the San Siro despite helping Milan to their highest points total in Serie A since 2013, but their 5th place finish this season leaves them without Champions League football for next term. Leonardo had 2 spells at the club as a player, a season as a manager, and this sporting director role has lasted just a year. Even Gazidis wielding the axe today. UCD's Neil Farrugia has been forced to withdraw from the Republic of Ireland under-21 squad for next month's Toulon tournament. He's been replaced by Reading's Josh Barrett. And Giulio Ciccioni became the 4th Italian stage winner of this year's Giro d'Italia today. The Trek Segafredo rider claimed today's 16th stage, just ahead of Astana's Jan Hirt of the Czech Republic. Eddie Dunbar, another good finish for him today, 42nd. He's 22nd on general classification. Richard Caparaz retains the leader's Maglia Rosa with a 1 minute 47 second lead over Vincenzo Nibali, another Italian.
Thanks for that. So after 8 o'clock, we'll be over to Baku. We'll talk to Luke Edwards. We'll also check in with James O'Connor around 8:30 or so, get his thoughts on the hurling at the weekend, Galway against Wexford, and NBA finals starting this week. We'll go over to John Gonzalez. Up next, though, we'll bring you Ronan's chat with Katie Taylor.
Off the ball on Newstalk. Down to business.
Your town, your main street is on the road again, and we roll into the town that's regularly referred to as the best place in Ireland to live, Westport. We're broadcasting on Saturday the 8th of June from Knockronny House Hotel. Our panel of experts will be giving the town a health check and asking why Westport has such a buzz about it. We'll be talking to businesses big and small from the town and county, and there'll be a few surprises along the way. The event is free, but you do need a ticket, so simply go to newstalk.com/events to get a ticket.
Your town, your main street.
On Down to Business.
Live from Knockronny House Hotel in Westport on Saturday the 8th of June from 10 a.m. Proudly sponsored by IE Domain Registry.
On Newstalk.
Mattresses-delivered.ie. Nationwide delivery within 48 hours for free. That's mattresses-delivered.ie. Lowest prices guaranteed. Don't forget the hyphen. T's and C's apply.
There's a smarter way to find your perfect 192 than following the crowd. Subtract all the noise that's out there. Then choose a reliable brand, like one sculpted in Germany over 120 years. Filter the list for class-leading connectivity. Now select the one with the smartest choices around, like 0% PCP or HP Finance, €3,000 scrappage or 3 years free servicing. Make the smart switch to Opel. Discover Grandland X and Mokka X at our 120-year anniversary event. Visit Linda's Opel Finglas and Turvey for more. Opel, born in Germany, made for Ireland. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply. Deposit required. This is a hire purchase agreement provided by Bank of Ireland Finance, a registered trading name of Bank of Ireland. Offer until June 30th.
At AIR, we understand the importance of technology for small and medium business owners. That's why we can provide totally unlimited superfast broadband and unlimited calls to help power your business. Whether it's posting or planning, you're safe knowing AIR is supporting you every step of the way. For more on our great broadband and mobile bundles, call 1-800